음, Hi, Juliana. You already received the.
बाह्रजना छैन घरको नाम राख्दै कहिले सम्पर्क गरेर त्यो राख्यो भइहाल्छ
Sean.
Um, Good morning, afternoon, evening, everyone, and welcome to Dubai's today webinar on anti-doping overview for the Asian Paragame 2026 rules, medical education, testing, and research management. My name is Sean, the APC Games and Sports Development Senior Manager. Thank you all for joining us. We are very delighted to have participants from across the sports and para-sports community, including athlete, coaches, medical professions, technical officers, administrators, and anti-doping practitioners. As preparation continues toward the 2026 Asian Paragames in Japan, ensuring a strong understanding of anti-doping responsibility, process, and athlete support system is more important than ever. So today's sessions will provide valuable insight into key anti-doping areas, including regulation, therapeutic use exemptions, education initiatives, testing procedures, and research management process within the sports environment. So again, we are especially delighted to welcome our speaker for today, Juliana Soares, whose extensive international experience and leadership in anti-doping make her uniquely qualified to guide us through this important discussion. So it is my pleasure to introduce Juliana. She is an experienced anti-doping professional with more than 15 years of national and international expertise across testing, education, research management, TUE, ADAMS, athlete biological sports management, and collaboration with anti-doping organizations worldwide. She has contributed to major international events, including the Olympics and Paralympic Games in London, Rio, Paris, and the Dubai 2025 Asian Youth Park Games, Pan American Games, and several world championships across sports. Juliana also served on the WADA Education Standing Committee and support anti-doping initiative within the Asia and America Paralympic Committee. And she recently joined APC as anti-doping manager. So please join me in welcoming Juliana, and over to you.
Thanks, Sean, for your kind introduction. And I'm very happy to be part of the APC family and be here today with Asian teams and delegations from all Asian region. Thanks, Shannon. Thanks everyone for to be here today. Um, Michelle, could you put our presentation, please? Yeah. First, welcome everyone. We are here today to prepare for Aichi Nagoya 2026 Asian Para Games. Our mission today is very simple, is to ensure that all of you have the basic knowledge to compete fairly and protected in our event. So today we are going to discuss about the overview of our event, but if you have any questions, please for us that we are going to be pleased to answer you. Next slide, please. So let's start with our timeline. It's very important to understand that our jurisdiction, but what is concerning to us. So APC jurisdiction, when APC specific rules are going to be activated, runs from October 9th until October 26th. So when we open the village, when we close the village, okay? However, we have the pre-game program that start early in the middle of July, when we can have some tests out of competition for any sports or any athletes that are going to take part of the Asian Para Games. Mark a very important date in your calendar that it's 18th of September. That's the deadline for therapeutic use exceptions. I'm going to talk a little bit more in the next slides, but remember, you should have pay attention on this very important deadline day, okay? Please, next one. I would like to remind some values of sport that APC is based. Clean sports is not just about rules, but it's about values on the sport. And the most important that running, and is the base of APC, is equity, that there was the opportunity to all the athletes to achieve their best and excellence, the respect, the dignity of ourselves and the others, and inclusion, any participation, are there any participants for any gender, any religion, any country to be part of APC competition. And everything goes well when we have the fair play. That's the main core of the spirit sport. So the spirit sport is one of the rules when we decide a prohibited substance or how we are going to deal with a results management case. So please remember how important the value is for you, for be representing your country and competing with the right values and the right way. Okay, athletes and teams. Next one, Michelle. Great. It's a very important sometimes to explain to everyone the difference of threats of integrity and anti-doping rules violation. Sometimes we listen something like the bike it's doped or the racket is doped, but this is not a doping. Doping involves one of the 11 possibilities to commit anti-doping rule violations, like the use of prohibited substance or traffic at prohibited substance. But the traits of integrity, it's like a misrepresentation for classification when we try, any athlete try to represent more severe disability than actually have. If you face some challenge like misrepresentation, please contact the classification team. They are the right people to manage the situation, okay? We can have the same for technology. When we use a non-compliant sport equipment, like an illegal skiing or wheelchair that doesn't fit with the rules of the wheelchair basketball or wheelchair rugby. So if you face something like this, you should talk with the sport team, the referees or judges, so they are the right person to check and double check the sport equipment and see if they fit or not and the appropriate sports rules. Okay. And the last one that is not very common in para sports, but is growing, that is match fixing. Match fixing is that when an athlete tries to manipulate the results or part of the results on the competition to get some advantage. Usually, we listen like a bat when an athlete tries to lose for purpose or get injured as a play. So these are the tricks of integrity: misrepresentation for classification, technology and sport equipment, or match fixing. All these three should be following to a sport team or a classification. As I explained, anti-doping rule violations, we have only 11 possibilities that we are going to discuss now. Michelle, please. Thanks. So 11 possibilities are amazing, but you need to pay attention, okay? Let's talk about the possibilities by substance, by process, or by network. The substance probably are the most common and most easiest one to understand. That it's when you have a presence of a prohibited substance or marks in your sample. So if you try to use a prohibited substance and we find in your sample, even after your metabolites at the lab, this is become a positive test. So it's one of the possibilities. Also, they use or attempt to use a prohibited substance. Sometimes you don't need to be tested and found the substance in your sample. We can also check if you try to use, and this can commit anti-doping rule violation. And the last one, possession by the athletes or athlete support personnel of anti-doping rule, a prohibited substance. What I mean is if the athlete has a substance in your backpack, in your luggage, in your room, this is a possession of a prohibited substance, okay? Please remember, for medical team, we have some exceptions, okay? Because some doctors need to have emergency medicines in your bag, but this is a very specific situation, okay? Athletes and athlete support personnel like guides, goalkeepers, coaches, and sport team should not have a possession of any prohibited substances, okay? During the process, also, we can have some anti-doping rule violations. For example, evading, refusing, or failing to submit a collection. Please, all athletes, and I ask you guys, please, to talk with your team. If an athlete had been invited to go to the doping control station, tell them they should go as soon as possible to the doping control station. If they try to run away or find some excuse that doesn't fit the possibilities to postpone, it's going to be an anti-doping rule violations, okay? Temporary or attempt to temporary a doping control. So it means if the athlete try to make the sample not validated, for example, throw the vessel on the floor, to put the hands inside of the vessel, or any other possibilities that it's not under the standards for the test. So please explain them to follow the procedures that the doping control officer are going to guide your athlete. And if he or she needs some support, ask the doping control officer to support, or the coach or other person that it's with the athlete at the doping control station to help. Okay. One last anti-doping rule violation process is the whereabouts failures. So if you have athletes on the TP testing pool or RTP registered testing pool from international federations or NADO, please keep in mind, if the competition is in Japan, they must to keep the informations accurate on the ADAM system. Okay, we are going to share information with the international federations and NADOs, national anti-doping organizations, to get the information, the location of all the athletes on the TP and RTP. Okay, please remind them to keep appropriate. And the last one is the network. So please, we know that trafficking or attempted to traffic, it's prohibited. So please don't take any substance or try to give to someone or sell to someone. Administration or attempt to administration. If you are not a medical doctor, first of all, you should not provide any guidance of prohibited substance. Okay, please make sure that your athletes are following strictly the medical team procedures and don't use any medication or prohibited substance from other people. On prohibited association, we are going to check all the technical team from medical team to see if someone is on some sanctions that it's not legal to be a medical team. But please remember not to bring anyone, any medical, physio, coach, or athlete that is under some sanction. Complicity is not to use this opioids, these professionals, okay? And the last one, retaliation or act to discourage reporting authorities. Please, we are going to talk in the end of the session how to speak up. And if you have any tips or any information regarding a doping process, please let us know. You're going to be protected and no one is going to know your name or nationality. Michelle? This is just a reminder that it's nice to remember you and also the athletes, the most important rule for us, that is strict liability. It means that if you athlete, you must to be sure, it's your duty to make sure that no prohibited substance enter in your body, okay? With intention or not. It doesn't matter for the results management team if you did on purpose or not. Okay, unintentional doping, it's the most of the cases we have an anti-doping environment. So please make sure that you're checking your medications and check your supplements with your medical team and tools that we are going to share with you today. Michelle? As we explained, we have the jurisdiction from 9th until 26th of October, and these are here the rules that are going to be in force during this period. The Asian Paralympic anti-doping rules for 2021. We are going to have a new one for next year, but until 2026, this is the rules that we are going to get in force, and the WADA anti-doping code from 2021. If you want to check more about these rules, you can double check in the APC website and Achi Nagoya website. Michelle? Sorry. Here it's a very important document that all of you must be aware of. It's the prohibit list. Remember, the prohibit list is annually updated. So check your entire team medications and supplements if none of the substances are found in prohibited list from 2026, okay? 2026 had some adjustments, but since from 2 years ago, we have very important informations about CBD and corticoids and tramadol, okay? They are the three most important. Please double check with your team, your entire team, okay? Also, be aware that Japan has specific rules for some medications, and they are going to check the controlled substance list. These medications, like narcotics, are very strictly have a very strict rules in Japan to get in Japan. So if you have any question, here are the links you can find. It's a very explicative procedure, but also you can find it on a medical guide that APC is going to publish. So please double check. And this is going to happen from the airport to the village, okay? Michelle, please. Yes. Like I explained, we have a very long list on the prohibited list of substances and methods from WADA 2026. If you want, you can use some tools. Your country sometimes have some tools like Uzbekistan and Korea, but also you can check here on a global draw. Japan, for example, they use the global draw. It's a very simple tool. We should just to use the name of the substance. For example, the explanation, the example I put here, the medication is Ritalin, but you're going to use methylphenidate because methylphenidate is the substance that they are using for the composition of the medication. So please check with the name of the substance, not the brand name. Remember, the brand name can change from country to country. Okay, so this is why, remember, use the substance for check on global drug. Okay, as you can see, it's very easy to understand when it's prohibited in competition or out of competition. Okay, for other medications, you also have the explanation, the route of the medication. So if it's injection, oral, nasal, so they are going to give examples when it's prohibited or not. Michelle? Yeah. Okay, probably you have some athlete in your team that needs to use a prohibited substance. This is not a problem at all. We are going to recognize the TUIs in Adams from your previous organization, International Federations and NADO. So please check if you have access to Adams, and if you have already a TUI on Adams, talk with your NADO or International Federation to give access to us, and you can check. Also, if you don't have a 2E from your IF or your NADO, you should send to us at least 30 days before start the competition. So this is why the deadline for send a TUE to APC is 18 of September. Okay, remember 18th of September, 1 month before the open ceremony. Okay, you can send to us by email antidoping at asianparalympic.org, and we are going to analyze with a to you team medication by medication, athlete by athlete. Please don't forget to send the TUE form, fill it and sign it by the athlete and the doctor. A medical report explaining the entire history of the athlete, when they start the diagnosis, the medications they tried to use before and with no works, and the medication they are trying to use now. For some situations, also the medical exams. For example, for DHD, the form SDCF or 5DCS, or for an injury, an X-ray, for a diabetes, a blood test. So we need to receive the exams to prove the needs of this TUE, okay? Please check the WADA list, global drug, if your athlete need, go to APC website or Achinagoy website, download the form, include all the medical information in English, please, and send to us. Remember, this information must be in English until 18th of September. Michelle? As I explained in the beginning of this, we have many adverse not intention dope. Most of them come from supplements, okay? So athletes are responsible for what they consume. We know that sometimes we trust in some supplements from our country, but please check again. And sometimes you can use a third-party test like Informed Sport, Colon, Asta. Asta is from Australia, probably is one of the easiest ones for us in Asia. But please, this is going to minimize the risk of doping for your athletes, okay? Check all your ingredients. Sometimes we have names on the label, like lemon bitter. That is not a lemon bitter, it's just a fake name for a prohibited substance. Or we have some cross-contamination because it's not a very safe environment where they produce the supplements, or even worse, when they put some substance on the pot but didn't put on the brand outside. So please be careful with supplements and check all of them. Also, if you are going to travel to Japan with the supplements, remember to bring the supplements enough for your entire period. Okay? As normal, we suggest you don't buy any medication or supplement in the normal store because you don't know the entire industry of Japan. If you need some guidance, please talk with your medical team at the Achi Nagoya. They are going to help you and guide you the best way. Michelle? Okay. As I explained, one of the possibilities the failure in anti-doping rule violation is to not include information on whereabouts. Today we are going to, for the games, we are going to have two whereabouts, okay? One for athletes that are already on testing pool for international federations and the NADOs. Please continue include information on Adams. And also, it's not just included Japan. We need to know exactly where you are. The village or the hotel address, the building, the room number. We must to be able to find you through Adams and do the test if it's necessary. Okay? For the national and the delegations, the national federations, all the delegations, you are going to receive an email from us requesting an anti-doping contact point. This is going to be the manager that you, chef de mission, are going to select. This person is going to be our contact point for inform the location of every single athlete during the competition. Okay? Please remember, we should include information appropriate like on Adams. The hotel or the village, the room, and the contact. We suggest also to include some phone number and the team leader in case we need to find the athlete and we couldn't find. Don't worry, this process is going to be by letter. So we are going to in the next weeks to send to you by email and all the explanations here. It's going to be explained on a document. Michelle? As you know, we have here 18 sports with 19 disciplines because cycling we have road and track, okay, 502 events, 19 venues. So we are going to be present, anti-doping team is going to present on the 19 venues doing tests in competition, okay? We have also the training venues and the test events that had been occurring during this past months. Michelle? This is also the map. As I explained, we are going to have teams, anti-doping teams, in every single venue. So if you need something and you couldn't contact us in person, please go to the doping control station and talk with the doping control officer leader. We have a manager for each venue. Michelle? This is the village. As I explained for the whereabouts, please, you should inform where exactly you are on the village, in the village, or even at the hotel. Okay. So this test, the test out of competitions test are going to be running at the athletes room, athletes village plaza, can be also on the classification environment and training environment. The out of competition can happen anytime, anywhere, okay? Please remember to include the appropriate informations for all of your athletes. Michelle? These are the kits that we are going to use for Achi Nagoya. Okay, we have the lock on the left side, and they are made by plastic, okay? And also the New Berlin kits, they're made by plastic too, so much easier to use and for blood and urine. This is the most common kits we have around the world, and they are approved by WADA and the WADA International Standards for Testing and Investigation, okay? It's important to remember when we explain to you about the substance, prohibited substance, we showed you the in competition and out of competition prohibited. Remember why? Because in competition period it starts 11:59 minutes p.m. one day before. So if you are taking any medication that is prohibited only in competition, you should be pay attention the time you should stop to take the medication, okay, to avoid any issue. Okay, one day before, uh, 1 minute before, in this case, it's out of competition. Pay attention on your medication of your delegation. It's prohibited in or out of competition. Okay, Michelle? This is a normal procedure that I believe that all of you know already. You're going to be getting a notification. Sorry. You're going to get the notification by a doping control officer or a chaperone. You should report it to the station for the doping control, select the vessel. The vessels are going to be at least 3 vessels per athlete to choose. Provide the sample in front of the official. The minimum of urine is 90 ml. Okay, and you can choose the kit for share and split the sample. Okay, the gravity of the sample, it's going to be measured. If it's too dilute, too much water on the sample, you need to continue the process and do again the test. Okay, our team is going to be there to provide hydration at the doping control station, so don't worry. Fill the form and sign, and keep with you one of the cups. Michelle? As we have a Paralympic athletes with us, we can have some modifications on the process. Okay, it's your right, in case it's an athlete's right to have some modifications during some circumstance. So, and the DCO has the authority to make this modification if necessary. For sure, not compromise the integrity and security of the sample. If you need some support, also talk with the doping control officer, okay? Any specific assistance by a representative, like your coach or by the DCO, are going to be authorized by the DCO and inform on the doping control form, okay? Please, Michelle. It's important to remember athletes with visual impairment or intellectual disability and also minors may request a representative during the entire process, including when they are taking the sample. For sure, this person, for example, the coach, cannot see directly the athlete. They are going to be just outside of the washroom looking the DCO, okay? In addition to sign the form also with the athlete. If the athlete is responsible to provide also any additional equipment for urine sample, like a catheter or a drain system bag. Michelle? So if you need to use a urine bag or catheter, remember your athletes are responsible for bring these equipments with them. The catheter is the easiest one, so please ask them to have a new catheters with them in their backpacks and the right size. It's not going to be available catheters at the doping control station. And if we can get some, probably it's not the right size for your athlete. So the catheter must be new and used directly from the urine from the athlete to the vessel, okay? No vessel between the anti-doping vessel and the athlete. And the urine bag, if you yeah, thanks. And the urine bag, for example, if you're athlete from basketball or athletics, use a urine bag, we need to discard, to throw away the urine inside the urine bag and wait to fill 19 ml again. Only the fresh urine are going to be used for the doping control, okay? Now, Michelle. Okay, let's remember your rights and duties. Athletes' rights are to have the rights to have a representative and interpreter for translate if necessary during the doping control process, to check the identity of our JADA team, request any assistance or modification, include any relevant comment if necessary in the doping control, and postpone to go to the doping control station only with a valid reason, like media team or medical requests. And your duty is also to go immediately to the doping control station to show us a valid ID. So our accreditation are going to be valid. And stay within the chaperones all the time. So please don't avoid or run away from our chaperone and carry out the entire process for the doping control. Michelle? If unfortunately we had any positive tests from the laboratory, we are going to start the process of application consequence for anti-doping rule violation against the athlete. So depend of the substance, it's going to have a provisional suspension. And if the athlete requests or not open the sample B, that it's going to be available for sure. And if the sample continue be positive, it's going to be the exclusion from the games, disqualification from the results. Okay, please make sure that you are avoiding any doping because we don't want any athlete pass through this. After this, we are going to pass the case for the International Federation to further follow up for additional consequences. Usually it's a period of ineligibility from 1-2 years to 4 years. This is the average sanction for anti-doping rule violation. So let's avoid any case. We have a team for results management decisions at APC event at Nachi Nagoya. Michelle? This is a little bit complex, but it's just for understanding that the procedures, the laboratory go to APC, conducts the initial review. If you have a TUE for this medication, it's closed the case, okay? But if you don't have a TUE, we are going to follow all the procedures. So accept the consequence that it's going to be suspension, exclusion of the games, and results. And we are going to pass to the IAF for conclude the second part of the case and give the sanction to the athlete. Michelle? If you have any information related anti-doping rule violations, remember from the beginning when I explained threats of integrity and anti-doping, please use the WADA channel called Speak Up. Here's the website you can click. This is a safe channel. You're going to be protected for every possibility to encourage you. And we deeply suggest if you have used this channel that it's 100% safe. One more, Michele? For pre-education, we suggest to do a DEL course that you can find in 24 languages for athletes and 5 languages for athlete support personnel. And Adele is still not 100% accessible for blinds, for B1, more specific. So we suggest you to talk with your NADO to provide an online or in-person seminars for your athletes. We are now working on the needs of a show and prove that you conclude the course, but in some weeks you're going to receive a formal notification about it. During the games, we are going to have an education booth at the plaza. So please invite all your athletes and athlete support personnel to join this activity. It's going to be like very cool with questions and some games provided by JADA and in partnership with us and WADA. and you can get some prizes and a little small gifts from the games. So please engage your entire team to go. Next one. So the final one, if you need any information or you need question, you can double check in APC website or Arte Nagoya para Asian Games. We have the anti-doping files there. And for the last one, you can also send an email to us, antidopingasianparalympic.org, and you'll be very happy to answer all your questions. Thanks everyone for being here. It's a pleasure. And if you have any questions, we are here.
Thank you very much, Juliana, for the insightful and comprehensive presentation. Now, we move into the question and answer session. So, everyone, if you have any question, then either you can speak or you can use the raise hand function, let's say, on the bottom of the Zoom. Then you will find the raise hand function. So then I can recognize that you have the question, then I will come to you. Or simply you can just ask your question in the chat box, then I can read your question on behalf of you. So, floor is all yours. Questions? In the meantime, I give you some time that you think of your question. That I like to ask one question to Juliana, which Asian program is the biggest multi-sports event happening in the Asian region. Everyone is looking for to competing at the Asian Para Games, especially young para athletes. So, what advice would you give to the young para athletes or any athlete who competing at the Asian Para Games for the first time in terms of anti-doping?
Thanks, Shan. I have some steps that, especially for youth athletes, like you said, and maybe the first major event competition attendance. First, remember the rules of your national or international federations are not exactly the same as the major event organizer. We are major event organizer. We are the biggest event in Asia, like Shan explained. So pay attention on deadlines, first of all. Okay, for example, the TUE. We know that you have a TUE from your country or your federation, so double check with your team if it's still validate, especially during the event. And if you need, if you can, you should send to us for recognition. Check also the procedures for doping control process, especially if you have any physical impairment that you need catheters, urine bags, or some adaptations. It's very important to understand how we are going to deal with the doping control officer at the doping control process. And if you feel comfortable, try to talk with someone to go with you to the doping control, because the first experience should be through education, not through the test. But you know that sometimes, unfortunately, it's not a reality and they are going to be tested at the event. So talk with your team, provide education to your team, and be prepared. We are here for support you, the clean athletes.
Thank you, Juliana. We got some question. The first one is thank you. And I think it's referring to the presentation slides for today's webinar. So can we take this training intro or some document? Will this be available downloading of today's presentation?
I think it's Michele or Obaid would be the best person to answer this because I don't know how the process to make available for everyone.
Yes, thank you very much, Juliana. Yes, the documents will be available to download from the same place where everyone registered. So same link
Thank
you
you.
can use to download documents. Thank you.
Thank you, Obaid.
Thank you, Obaid.
And next question is from Malaysia. Every player must have a doping certificate or not? I think this meant for adult education completion and certification.
Yes, thanks for the question. We are in the final decision to get or not the certificate. First, as a personal anti-doping manager, I deeply suggest to go through education with all your athletes. Doesn't matter if it's mandatory or not, because this is going to protect everyone for an advertisement doping. So please, we are going to decide in the next days, and we are going to contact you for further information. But if it's possible, it starts from now to collect the certificates and make sure that all your athletes, especially the young ones, the youth ones, had been education sessions before to go to Japan.
Okay. Next question from MPC Singapore. Will there be food and drinks at the test center? And the next question is, which ADL course specifically is needed for the athletes?
Okay, thanks for the question. Yes, we are going to provide hydration, so liquids at the doping control station. Foods, unfortunately, it's necessary. It's unfortunately we cannot provide inside the doping control station for health requirements, but you can bring your own food like a snack if necessary for your athlete. Regarding the DEL certification, we suggest you for international level athlete on a DEL. It's a course that takes around 30 minutes, 1 hour, depending of how fast is the athlete. It's accessible in 24 languages, like I explained before.
Okay.
Thanks.
The next one is not a question, just thank you, Juliana, for fruitful meeting from Kochi, Somalia. And the next question from MPC China. When shall we get the doping control guidebook?
We are just finalize the draft. We are waiting just for the decision of the ADEL certificate. So probably in a couple of days, it will be possible to be published by Astronet, like all the guidebooks have been published by APC and Dash Nagoya.
Okay, I have two participants raise their hands, so I probably go to them first. So MPC Singapore, Samuel Ang. So you can unmute yourself and ask your question if you still have the question. Or I just saw the hands down now. So I assume that your questions already been answered. So yeah, then I have also Dr. Badro. You raise your hands. So unmute your microphone. We cannot hear you, Dr. Badro. I see you speaking, but we cannot hear you. Okay. So I will be.
Yeah. Can
Yeah.
you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Yeah. Thank you for the very, very good presentation, Juliana. And yeah, I would like to bring up the matter of clenbuterol, which is quite common in some countries. So it can cause, yeah, it's AAF. You will bring up the, I mean, you can bring to the ADRP if it's very high. So some countries, like I think there are a few cases in the last Asian Para Games where athletes have positive for clenbuterol, but it depends on the level of the clenbuterol. If it's quite low, then it can be excused, but if it's too high, it can be very serious. Yeah? So, Juliana, can
I,
do you have yeah any issues on that?
Yeah, first of all, I would like to introduce Dr. Badru Amini. He is the leader of anti-doping committee for APC. Thanks, Dr. Badru. Uh,
You're welcome.
but Dr. Could, could,
Yeah, well, Dr. Badro, we have a lot of noises from you. I think you have some noise background there. So if you finish your question, kindly ask mute
Yeah,
your microphone. Thank you
yeah.
very much. Thank
uh,
you.
if I'm not wrong, because it was very noisy with Dr. Badru, what he tried to explain that some countries in Asia, they use clenbuterol for their meat. So please be careful with the threshold, the amount of clenbuterol you can have in your body. So, if I'm not wrong, like China, they have clenbuterol in their meat. So please double check the amount of clenbuterol you can have because the threshold it's very low for urine and blood samples for our athletes. So be careful with the meat, especially cow meat. And
Okay. The next question from Dr. Matthew regarding guidebook when it's available. I think it's already been answered, but Juliana?
yeah, we are going to finalize in the next day. So probably until the end of this month, you're going to have access.
Yeah. So another question from Dr. Matthew. If any medical emergencies, what are our preparation at testing centers?
Let's see if I understood correctly the question. For the emergence, we are going to have a medical team at the venues, and at the villages for accommodation. I'm not sure how the medical team are going to act for emergency situations because this is with the medical team. But if some medical emergency happened during the competition and this athlete had been selected for provide anti-doping sample, we are going to analyze case by case. If the athlete, for example, for goalball hit their head and need to go to MRI, we for sure are going to allow this athlete to go to MRI because it's a very emergent situation. So the anti-doping team is going to manage with the medical team the level of emergence. If it's necessary, we are going to cancel or postpone the test. But this is going to be a very specific, and the situation is going to decide case by case.
Okay. Dr. Benual, are you still with us? I see you raise your hand. So if you still have the question, unmute your microphone and ask your question.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so yes, my question is that will you be having any kind of educational or awareness group at the venue? And if yes, and how many?
We are still planning with the JADA, the educations at the venue. For now, we are going to have at the plaza, but we are going to check the schedule for athlete booth at the venues. We know that the venues are not at the same place for every sport, so don't worry, we didn't forget it. We are just checking with the team the availability to try to cover all the sports, but still ongoing this doing the number of educators we need for to cover all the sports. It's a very huge event.
Yes, and just a small opinion or suggestion you can say.
Sure.
It is good to have 2 to 3 minimum small booths available at all the locations, especially at the competition as well as in the athlete village. Taking the consideration of the results which are coming out every month, every year. And there are people who are ready to work and available to volunteer for this educational program. So yeah, that's just a suggestion.
No, yeah, thanks for your suggestion. We are taking account for sure. As I explained, we are talking with JADA to try to provide as much as possible education to all the athletes. As soon as we get some information for sure, we are going to post it. And please, we invite all your athletes to be part of this education because it's a very personal, it's very cool and very happy to see all the athletes taking this as a free time and learn a little bit about anti-doping too.
And yeah, just one observation which I can share it from the last World Paralympic World Championship, which was in New Delhi. I was a part of the anti-doping team for the education part. And there was a little survey where we had the observation that majority of athletes, they are not very much aware of specific keywords like speak up or ADRVs.
Yeah.
So it is good to have a little kind of different activities just to aware or educate them more.
Okay. Yep. Really nice feedback. Indeed, sometimes we use so many acronyms that even our team sports sometimes don't understand it because it's our day-by-day information or the name is too huge that we try to compact like anti-doping rule violations. It's too long, but you're right. Sometimes we must to be a little bit more accessible for our athletes. Thanks.
Thank you very much for wonderful questions from participants. Any more questions from participants? No. Well, thank you very much, Juliana, for the again informative and insightful session today. And thank you to all participants for your participation and great contribution. So before we conclude, I'd like to inform everyone that a quiz will be shared following this webinar. So participants who successfully complete the quiz will receive a certification of participation. And the team is going to share the link for the questions. Now you can find the link for the questions. So please make sure copy the link before you leave the webinar, and also make sure the portal will open until tomorrow to 12 p.m. Dubai time. So make sure you complete and pass the questions before the portal close. Okay.
Shan, may
Yes.
I ask a favor?
Sure.
Could everyone to open the camera for a picture?
Yeah, of course. That's what I was gonna ask for all
Sorry.
participants. So, yeah. So as Juliana suggests, that we are going to we pleased to have a group photo with you. So if you can please turn on your camera and give us your best and beautiful smiles. Just for 3 seconds. Okay. Got that, Tim?
Wait.
Okay. Well, in the meantime, we encourage everyone to complete the quiz again. Of course, for your certification, but this is very important to continue strengthening your knowledge and commitment to clean the sports as athlete, as coach, as athlete supporters, whatever your role in participating in sports. So anti-doping is one of the matter for your sports career. Okay. Last call. Any question from anyone? No? Then thank you again. And we look forward to seeing you in future APC webinar session and in Japan, Nagoya in October. So have a wonderful day for everyone and see you next time.
Bye-bye.